已经都亮红灯了，自己亮红灯了都。哎，没办法个姐，但这部车子的时间了。
这部车又玩完了。
哎呀，部车子
又跟那部车一样。
现在人下去就没法动弹。
现在你看到的不是大海哦。
A nation defined by its immense scale and diversity, China once again finds itself in a pitched battle against the overwhelming forces of nature. A series of catastrophic floods has inundated multiple provinces, carving a wide swath of destruction and despair. What began as seasonal heavy rainfall rapidly escalated into a disaster of staggering proportions, submerging entire communities, crippling vital infrastructure, and transforming the rhythm of daily life into a desperate struggle for survival. The southern and central provinces, with their mountainous terrain and already saturated soil, became a perfect crucible for calamity. Torrents of water, fierce and unforgiving, surged through narrow valleys, engulfing roads and entire villages with terrifying speed and force. Rivers, swollen beyond their limits, breached embankments, unleashing massive walls of muddy, debris-filled water that crashed into homes, shops, and agricultural lands. For countless individuals, there was no time to prepare for the onslaught. In a frantic rush, people grabbed what few possessions they could carry and fled for the relative safety of higher ground. The chaos and panic of the evacuation tore families apart. While some were fortunate to be reunited in the days that followed, many others continue the agonizing search for their loved ones, their fates still unknown. The devastation in rural areas has been absolute. Entire villages have vanished beneath the rising floodwaters, their existence erased from the landscape. Traditional wooden homes, unable to withstand the powerful currents, crumbled and were swept away. Whole blocks of housing disappeared, and once fertile farmlands were transformed into vast, murky lakes. The agricultural backbone of these communities was shattered in a single night as livestock drowned and crops were utterly destroyed, wiping out livelihoods that have been built and sustained over generations. In response, emergency rescue crews have been deployed in a massive effort. Utilizing rafts, helicopters, and any means at their disposal, they have braved collapsing roads, treacherous landslides, and unpredictable currents to reach those stranded by the deluge. The stories emerging from these rescue efforts are a testament to the dire circumstances. Children have been plucked from rooftops. Elderly residents have been saved from the precarious safety of trees. And entire families have been evacuated from submerged highways. However, the crisis has not been confined to the countryside. Major metropolitan areas, including the sprawling cities of Nanjing, Wuhan, and Chongqing, have also faced widespread and severe flooding that has crippled their sophisticated urban infrastructure. In scenes reminiscent of a disaster film, major thoroughfares were transformed into flowing rivers, and the underground subway systems filled with water, trapping commuters in a terrifying subterranean ordeal. Vehicles, unmoored by the floodwaters, floated like debris through the city streets, and entire neighborhoods were plunged into darkness as power stations shorted out under the strain. The economic and social life of these cities came to a standstill. Businesses were forced to shutter their doors, communication lines were severed, and the provision of essential services was paralyzed. In regions like Guangxi and Hunan, drone footage has captured haunting and surreal images of the disaster's scale. Entire towns appear to have been swallowed by the floodwaters, with only the lonely rooftops of buildings visible above the murky surface. The relentless rain has also triggered secondary disasters. Vital railway lines have buckled and twisted. Bridges have collapsed under the force of the water, and massive landslides have buried entire stretches of highway, effectively isolating thousands of people from the outside world. The mighty Yangtze River, already swollen by the incessant downpours, has risen to dangerously high levels, placing immense and unprecedented pressure on the dams and levees that were constructed decades ago to protect millions of inhabitants. The Chinese government has launched a massive and comprehensive emergency response to this unfolding catastrophe. Tens of thousands of soldiers, medical personnel, and volunteers have been mobilized and rushed to the front lines of the disaster zones. In an effort to provide immediate relief, schools, sports arenas, and other public buildings have been hastily converted into temporary shelters for the displaced. Field hospitals have been established to treat the injured, while military helicopters conduct airdrops of food, water, and other critical supplies to communities that remain inaccessible by land. Despite these monumental efforts, the human cost of the floods continues to rise. Many lives have been tragically lost, families remain separated, and thousands of individuals are still unaccounted for. In the hardest hit flood zones, rescuers continue to wade through waist-high waters, tirelessly searching for any signs of life amidst the devastation. Yet, from the depths of this catastrophe, stories of extraordinary bravery and human compassion have emerged. Young volunteers have formed human chains to pull their neighbors from the treacherous currents to safety. Firefighters, drenched and exhausted, have worked for days without rest, their determination unwavering. Medical staff have been seen carrying elderly patients through the floodwaters to reach makeshift clinics. In a powerful display of community solidarity, ordinary citizens have opened their homes to complete strangers, sharing what little food and resources they have left. In one particularly moving incident, villagers constructed a makeshift raft to rescue a group of stranded schoolchildren, rowing them to safety across a flooded rice field. The long-term impact of these floods is overwhelming and will be felt for years to come. The destruction of critical infrastructure, including roads, bridges, power lines, and water systems, will require a massive and costly rebuilding effort. The agricultural losses are staggering, with entire harvests wiped out, and the economic consequences for businesses, both large and small, are severe. But for those who have lost loved ones, no amount of rebuilding can fill the profound emotional void left behind. Recognizing the deep psychological wounds inflicted by this disaster, mental health workers are now joining the rescue teams, providing crucial support to help survivors cope with the trauma and grief in the flood's wake. Thousands will require ongoing counseling, support, and secure housing for months, if not years, as they begin the arduous process of rebuilding their lives.